Hi everyone, my name's Georgia Carter Mathers from Dark Love Stories. It's really hot here today. It's about 39 degrees outside at the moment, but it has been up to 44 degrees, and that's in Celsius. So I'm really hot, but I do have a flower behind my ear to make me feel a little bit better. I thought I'd read you the flash fiction that I wrote. It came from prompts from people who came up to the stall at Kirribilli Markets last Sunday. And some of the suggestions that I received was to write about witchcraft and dinosaurs. I'm going, oh, how can I put those two things together? So the thing was that I came home and had a little bit of think, and this is what I came up with. And I've called the story Conjuring a Dinosaur. Here goes. Oh, Miranda said, screwing her face up. It's you, gorgeous, potent, charismatic you. What kind of a welcome is that, especially for your fiancé? David flashed a grin as he towered over her, chuckling. You brought me here, remember? You could be a little nicer. The lamp that gave off green-toned light made his face look sinister. David was the oldest of warlocks, a dinosaur. He had survived the 15th century witch hunts. He'd laughed off accusations that he had caused the Black Death, and he'd survived the torture they had dished out. Now he stood before Miranda in the dim light of her apartment. What could he be thinking? He was selfish to the core, that was for certain. He straightened his black satin dress vest and reached over to touch a strand of Miranda's chestnut brown hair. She brushed his hand away. I didn't conjure you. I never would. You've intercepted my spell, and we're not engaged. Not yet. There was only one way he could have survived those trials. There was only one way the people around him could have died the way they did, long, slow, gut-wrenching deaths. David turned his back to wander over to the living room window. It was dark outside. As if I needed to intercept your spell, Miranda. If it makes you feel better thinking that, then feel free. David's shoulders were at least as broad as the window, 24 inches or so. Miranda stared, dry-mouthed. Her heart thumped. No, it seemed to be smashing itself against her chest wall. Don't play with me, David. You know full well I was trying to get in touch with my great-great-grandmother. Miranda desperately needed her right now. She desperately needed her grandmother's wise words, her considered advice. But somehow you've ended up in my living room instead, not Nana. Unclench your fists, Miranda. It's unbecoming for a witch. Just settle. I don't know. 1 minute I'm gorgeous and charismatic, but the next minute I'm a dinosaur. I'm hardly a dinosaur. Look, I dressed just for you. He swiveled toward Miranda and gestured toward his black suit covering his form, his strong torso, his long, taut legs. Miranda wrenched her gaze down to the old carpet. He'd read her thoughts. He'd seen what she was doing even though he'd had his back turned. She'd not said anything about him being a dinosaur, and she'd certainly never admit that he was gorgeous. Not aloud anyway. But she'd thought it. Damn it, Miranda. She huffed and flopped down on the couch, purposely sitting where the fabric had worn. The stuffing bunched and stuck out from the cushion. She wished her heart would settle so that she could relax. With an imperious movement of her own, she flicked a piece of fluff from her arm, trying to look at least calm. Get out of my head, David. You are a dinosaur. And you dress for you and no one else. You're no fun, and I suppose it's usually true that I dress for myself, but just now I put this on for you. Can't you tell by the look on my face? He smirked. Oh God, what was she doing? She should be talking to her Nana. What do you want, David? Isn't it obvious? Miranda rubbed her neck. I don't know yet. Marrying you is not something anyone would rush into. Oh, that hurts, especially after the offer I made. Miranda didn't look up, but she could hear him grinning. She could feel him grinning. Damn it, he was arrogant. The offer? To see into the future, to see whether her mortal sister would survive to experience her 5th birthday, just 3 days away. Maybe even David had the power to give her sister life. Miranda swallowed. He was an occultist. He could do almost anything, it seemed that way. Little Gigi had a hole in her heart. No amount of natural therapies would remedy that. Surgery hadn't helped. And David was using that against Miranda. He was trying to manipulate her. Just leave me alone, David. You'll have your answer in a couple of hours. I need to think. David strode to the couch and sat down next to Miranda, too close. Their thighs touched. His body heat saturated the room. She tried to divert her attention to her neighbour's footsteps audible from the apartment next door. Miranda rubbed her arms and flung her sweating hands in her lap, waiting for David's retort. None came. The footsteps stopped, but it did nothing to calm the staccato beat of her heart now that David sat so close. He sighed. That's what you really think, Miranda? That I'm manipulating you with a possible cure to Gigi's heart condition? Miranda shifted to the left side of the couch. Isn't that what you're doing? I said, David took her right hand, that I'd try to see her future if you married me, if you committed yourself to me. You think that power comes without a cost? Miranda tugged her hand. He held it firmly but gently. After a moment she stopped tugging and swallowed. Everything has a cost, but you don't want to marry me, he finished. Perhaps it was disappointment that caused his voice to peak. She wanted to marry the man she loved, but Mr. Right hadn't shown up yet. And surely if she loved David, she'd know it, wouldn't she? You wouldn't even do it for Gigi, he said, as he let go of her hand and got up. Miranda didn't know what to say. Could he actually be hurt? She chanced to glance up at him. Now his fists were clenched. David, I think you know I like you. You know I like you. He turned back, grinning. Yes, you've finally admitted it. But Miranda, I can't help being old-fashioned. Where I come from, a warlock declares his intentions, and I've done that. Then let me think about it. Without some cruel incentive to know whether my sister will survive, let me grieve if she dies. Give me some room to understand my own feelings. About you. David frowned. The concern pierced his brown eyes. I'm sorry. Perhaps I was overzealous. I was putting my best foot forward. I thought you'd see it as a sign of a powerful mate for the future. Miranda examined the ghostly carpet again. She felt the couch depress as he sat beside her. Can I have a date then, as you call it? Can I take you to a restaurant in the city, the one you're always thinking about? David, she said in a warning tone. He put his hands up in a truce gesture. I know, get out of your head. Miranda surveyed his expression. He was serious. He was really willing to take things slow. You want to have dinner with me? Well, if you'll have dinner with me, Miranda. His hand floated down so that his thumb could make circles on the back of her hand. The action of his thumb was making her dizzy, but Miranda nodded. Yes, I think I can handle dinner. His Adam's apple bobbed. Try not to worry about Gigi. The universe is embracing her. Miranda felt herself lean toward him. Can you see? Can you see what will happen to her? David shook his head. That would take an unbelievable amount of energy and an unbelievable connection between me and her blood relative, you. Okay, Miranda slouched. But she's in good hands at the hospital. They're taking care of her. I've been checking in every now and then. Miranda sought his face. You have? He smiled. I'm not that much of an ogre. David reached for Miranda's head and directed it down to rest on his large shoulder. There are just some things that we all have to deal with. Mine is waiting for you. And that's the end of Conjuring a Dinosaur. I hope you liked it. I had some fun writing it, and thank you to the people who contributed the prompts, who their names were Sonam and Mark James. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you back at Kirribilli Markets. And for all those who were wondering who I was dressed as on Sunday at Kirribilli Markets, I was dressed as Rey from The Force Awakens. But nobody said anything. I can't believe that people would think that that was the way that I dressed normally. I don't know. Maybe they were thinking that I was just strange. But anyway, I was dressed as Rey. That's not the way I usually dress. Okay. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed this flash fiction. And if you haven't already, sign up at Dark Love Stories for free excerpts, free story excerpts. And Trelawney and Seduction is available now in print. You just need to order it online. So if you haven't done that yet, you better go and get your copy before I run out of stock. Okay, so thanks very much. See you later. Bye.